Hello everyone, good evening and a very warm welcome back to the Top Tier Championship. You join us for round 4 of the Premier Tier season here from the Circuit of the Americas just outside of Austin, Texas. Now, what a season it's been so far. 3 points covering our top 2 teams, Ventari and the Shazoo Cedars Igniters. Some fine form being displayed between the two teams. We'll start to see the resurgence as well of some of the other contenders. The battle resumes here, and well, it's hard to predict which way this one will go. The sky is nice and sunny here in America, and you join myself, Joseph, for round 4 of the season. We'll be awaiting Roberts. He'll be with us a little bit later on, hopefully in this session. That's if he hasn't choked on his dinner. Well, I hope that hasn't happened, because I don't like doing this myself, but we'll see how long we can go for before I go mentally insane. Right, we've got cars on track then, starting with, let's get the track map up, and indeed the telemetry and lap data for your viewing pleasure. And it is an Aston Martin first up on the track. It's IRT Phil. Him and Seb, well, this is a carbon copy of what we saw last night, if you were with myself and Jota for the Legacy division. Carbon fibre being basically naked on that Aston Martin. I didn't realise how much of that is just unpainted car. But yeah, it's a bit of an eyesore actually to look at, followed by the McLaren and the Kick Sauber there. IRT, I'll tell you what, yeah, certainly a team that have surprised a few people, I think. Perhaps, well, I don't know whether everybody predicted them, so to speak, but they've done a very good job so far this season. I'll throw up the team standings. They are 5th in the championship, only 5 points off the top 3. They had their best round of the season a week ago in Jeddah, and their first podium finish of the season as well. So how might this form translate into COTA? We'll soon see. Top 6 finish for Seb as well back in Hungary. Top 6 finish for Nick in our season opener. Of course, last week, confirmation of the podium for Luca. So, yeah, top 6 finishes in all 3 races. This is a team on the front foot. And we'll go for a lap on board with IRT Phil, throwing it into the first corner there. A little bit of a tricky corner, certainly unsighted, and very easy as well to lock the rears. Hug the inside curve at turn 2, then you're on to 3 and 4 and 5. And then turn 6 is a long right-hander. Keep it flat, use the engine braking. Plenty of inside curve for turn 7, and then uphill through 8, and a flick left into 9. Lifting off the throttle ever so slightly, just to preserve the rear tyres, and on down now in towards turn 11 again. Bit of a late apex corner. We're going to turn it into a V shape and prioritise the exit, because this is where the DRS and the overtaking will come in tonight's race. Again, hugging the inside, using all of the track available to minimise the distance all the way down towards turn number 12. And that's a bit of a flick into the corner, isn't it? Turning nice and early. Rounding now turn number 13. Yeah, cautious on the throttle. He's gone for a bit of a wide berth, and again, prioritising that exit speed. Coming out of turn 15, it's the triple right-hander, Turkey-esque now, 16, 17 and 18. To turn 19, this is a tricky one. Again, unsighted. Flying into the apex, just guessing that you've got the corner correctly. It's a really make or break corner in terms of lap time. Phil crosses the lines into the 30s to kick start. Lap times this evening, only 6 thousandths behind, is EVE Mateusz Cash. No, I'm joking. Quantum crosses the line and goes over 2.5 tenths quicker than Justin, who, well, absolutely dominated last night in the Legacy division, though that was wet conditions, and, well, saw a little bit of controversy, didn't we, as not everybody had an ideal wet setup on their car. One of those was Quantum, who also started on the wet tyres as well. Kind of miraculous recovery, if you like, to maintain P6 in what was a very, very long race, and not with too much to shout about. A lot of wheel banging, certainly a side-by-side combat. Still some good overtakes. Here comes SCI Oscar round in the final corner now. Say 1:30.348. That will potentially already be good enough for pole position. As the low 30s are the aim. Oscar, who has scored podiums in his last 8 races for SCI. An incredible run of form at the moment. He's looking to continue that with a pole position here this evening. It's off to the perfect start. Right, I have somebody that has joined my party, which means A, I will now put this on invite only, so nobody racist joins. And B, introduce ESV Bobberts to the live stream. Good to have you back. I'm glad that you've made it. How are you?
Well, now that I've filled my stomach somewhat, then yeah, great. There we go. You've just answered the question I was just going to ask. So thank you very much. Yeah, things didn't go to plan today. That is why I'm here. So, but nonetheless, you know, it's obviously you've introduced everything anyway. But yeah, no, good to be here for round 4 of the season. Let's see what we've got. 12 minutes to go as I join the session now. So hopefully haven't missed too much apart from the initial bankers. But still got, like I said, 12 minutes to go. Still got obviously the race to go. I'm ready for this. Just about now.
You ready?
Yes.
Good. No, I'm always glad that you're here.
He says that right, everybody. But if you, obviously those who aren't in the comms chat, when I said that I would be available for tonight, Joseph did say that he hasn't been this disappointed since Shrek 2. So.
Well, no, because I knew what you would have been doing tonight, and that.
No, are you sure it wasn't because you might not have had your lover boy with you instead? Is that maybe what it was, or is it just the fact that I was coming back? Maybe.
A bit of both. The OG partnership nearly happened, but it maybe later in the season when you get round 2 of your dating.
That's so last season. You know, this is the new one. This is the new OG. So
it is, to be fair. Right. Absolutely nothing on track at the minute.
That's all right then. Like I said, yeah, managed to load it now, see what we've got, and so 13 times have been set so far. Oscar on pole, who's been on form as of late in all different forms of league racing, whether if it's well, especially here at COTA actually, he's been absolutely dominant on this track, so I hope he can continue that trend, as obviously we have some drivers who did not set their first lap times, or a clean lap time going out already. I'm going to presume it's going to be a full dry quali session by the looks of the blue skies, unlike as it is here today in the UK, where it has been absolutely awful.
Oh, it's horrendous. Thunder, lightning, you name it. Yeah, not particularly pleasant outside, though I did get a lovely photo earlier of a double rainbow out the front. Very weird that I did that, but it was a nice photo. I couldn't turn down the opportunity to take my one picture a month that I think is semi-nice. Right, anyway, Tiago is on an outlap, the ex-Gilique driver, as you can see by his gamer tag, representing TF10 here this evening. They've had a bit of a whirlwind start, haven't they? Only 5 points on the board, and that really does reflect their console trajectory, doesn't it? It's been very downhill for a while, not, again, comfortably in this division, I must say, out of the Legacy division, and, well, kind of need a miracle to get anything going this season after 2 pointless rounds.
Indeed, yeah, and yeah, you've just summed it up rather perfectly there, Joseph. But yeah, unfortunately, you know, they've lost some of their best drivers. I mean, that's just life, isn't it? I suppose, you know, people go to new and different teams, you know, whether if it's because they're not happy or they just fancy a new challenge. You can't blame drivers, I suppose, for that. And this is what they've got at the moment. Obviously, they've got Walt, who's pretty much been with us all season so far, representing TF10. But obviously, we've got Tiago here tonight. I think it's his debut for TTC. Could be wrong in saying that. Forgive me if I am. So. But I think I was right. As well, there we go. There's just the continuation of this with an invalidation coming through turn 9. I believe that is from Tiago there after a supposedly purple first set day. He is going to continue, but obviously there's really no point in watching. Because, well, he's just going to be heading back to the pits. So we're going to go on board with the next driver, which is Vano, however you want to pronounce that. Definitely the first time I've seen him this season. I would definitely remember a name like that.
I'm going to go for Vano.
Go with just that, you go with that a little bit, just a bit of what Italian sort of twist
But
into that. Is that
let
what
me
you were
check.
trying to go for there?
Nationality, what's it? So, yes, he is Italian. So we'll go
Okay,
with
well,
Van.
at least you didn't make a tit of yourself then by just doing that, as he makes nearly a tit of himself, actually, with the traction on the exit there, coming down the DRS straight, the car complaining and did not want to put the power down, but, excuse me, that's my chicken that I've just said that's trying to come back up there. That was rather nice. As a heavy braking into the end of the DRS straight, you can cut that corner actually still on this game. That Racing Bull just about getting out of his way there. We're about a tenth up at the moment, but it's not enough to propel him any higher than P13, and that's obviously down to that mistake, down to his lack of traction. Coming through the fake turkey turn 8, as I call it. I mean, it's a good set of corners, but it's not the real deal, in my opinion. But it's still a great set of corners. We've come through the ultimate corner now. One corner to go here for Vanno. That's my attempt at an Italian accent. It's rather terrible. We improved by nearly 3/10 at the end, but we stayed P13. So there's definitely more time to be found, but still nobody really troubling the top part of the table.
Nargio as well, he is off the circuit. He hasn't invalidated. This is potentially another double outlap sort of technique that we have seen so far this season. So, I mean, it has worked as well, just for the record. And yeah, just confirming that it is a double outlap because he is setting up. He avoided the pit lane and he is out for his first full flying lap of the session. To go 1 minute 50.8. He'd need special permission to race if this was real life, as would 6 other drivers at the bottom end of the field so far who haven't yet got a lap. One of those is Hungary race winner Ventari Alessin, who is coming around turn number 15 now. He's getting stuck actually behind an Alpine that's not on a lap, and I would consider that an naughty impeding. That might well have been Tiago, and it was. He's out of fuel as well, not realising that the Dutchman was on a quick lap behind him. Has he lost any time from it? Feel like there's been a bit of hesitation, certainly through turn 15. Round of the final corner comes a lesson. It's a 142.5, so I've missed the first half of his lap where nothing really happened on it. Again, massive amount of work to do for the Ventari duo. Round the final corner comes crowding across the line, 131.8 as Oscar extends his advantage at the front of the field, now getting close to the .2s.
Indeed, here comes Phil's actually invalidated. That's unfortunate for him there. Quantum had done as well. Ellison actually abandoned shortly after the first sector, I believe. I did see him pull over. One thing I did spot, which I don't think you caught on stream, Joseph, was Digio improving his lap time by just over 1/10 of a second. However, going completely wide at the final corner and taking advantage of track limits there with it not invalidating his lap time. I have taken a little recording of that just to be an absolute arse. So there goes now Guillaume now up into P7 on his second attempt there. Gets himself up at a Wards actually, who does improve himself into a 31 flat in P8. So we're normally used to it being very close in TTC. However, well, it is fairly close in the midfield, but you've got a 3/10 gap between Oscar and Quantum for P1 and P2 alone. I mean, we've not seen anything like that in however many races. Far too long is the simple answer for that. That is just, at the moment, pure domination.
Yeah, I wish we had the full qualifying classifications to hand. I don't actually save them, so I can't be bothered to go back and look at some of the gaps we've had so far this season. But Oscar, a 3/10 gap at the front of the field, is on the money at the minute to become our 4th different pole sitter of the season. Looking back at who we've had on pole, we've had you. My bad, I'm looking at the wrong thing. We've had Marlon in the opening round, a lesson, of course, who converted pole to victory in Hungary, and Andrea last week, who was cruelly but denied by a late safety car, and of course the harder balanced tyre gamble that certainly caught him out, and then he was, of course, pipped on the restart and went on to finish second by about 7/10, just as our pole and victory race story this season. Of course, Marlon lost pole position to the SCI 1-2 in the season opener in Belgium. Ward's heading into the pit lane. He's still 31 dead pretty much. We've got Melwin weaving around. He is out of fuel and will inevitably be coming back into the pit lane. I am still quite surprised, A, the amount of drivers in the 31s, and B, the amount of drivers I don't think really have much capacity words to improve.
Yeah, Coulter's is one of those tracks, especially in the first and last sector, where it really makes or breaks your lap times. I've just dropped my controller there.
I heard
Yeah,
that.
it's the first sector, especially. You know, breaking into turn one, if you don't cut it as much as you can, you're losing a tenth or two there. Obviously, then you've got the Silverstone-esque of the first sector, the remaining part, sweeping and weaving left and right. Obviously, traction throughout the second sector is key, as well as obviously, depending on what your straight line top speed is. And then obviously again traction, and then the fast and medium flowing section of the final sector. It is a driver's circuit, you could say. It is really difficult to nail a lap here. Arguably, well, maybe not quite as difficult as the likes of Monaco, obviously, for obvious reasons. But it's certainly up there to get a lap that's as near on perfect as you're going to get it. And at the moment, only one driver potentially seems to have done that based off the lap times that we're seeing. But less than 2.5 minutes to go now. Everyone pouring out to pit lane to get their final laps underway. Quantum is the first driver currently in P2 who will start his final run. He may come under some traffic here, especially those towards the back of the field that still haven't even left the pit lane yet. So we'll keep an eye on him. Obviously, yes, he's 3/10 off pole at the moment, has nearly 2/10 over Justin in behind, but he is in an SCI sandwich, who want to take full advantage of obviously after losing the championship lead. Now they are 3 points behind Venturi, but they are they're 48 points and 51 points respectively ahead of third. So as we expect, it is a two-horse race still at the moment. Considering as well that SCI had 2 finishes last week, whereas Venturi only had their 1. But here comes Quantum now on his final attempt. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, mounting turn number 1, then plummeting down the hill towards turn 2. Assuming all of these drivers on outlaps, carry a lot of speed and just kind of get it done. And most of them not really in a rush, so we'll see about that. He shouldn't hit too much traffic. Almost a 10th up in the first sector is Quantum. It's been very nice so far for a pad king. It must be certainly showed his abilities in the wet weather 24 hours ago. 50-meter board then as he rolls the car into turn 11. DRS coming up shortly. Just dump the battery, save the battery for the long straights. Helps with acceleration, and then of course the top end speed. How much can he climb up to? 203 as he turns the battery off. Downforce required into turn number 12, using a lot of exit curb there. He brings it back left. Nice tight line through turn 13. Bit of a squirmish exit. He gets it recovered to turn 15, 16, 17 and 18. Again, 3 corners into 1. A lot of compliant cars on the outside of that corner. Is he going to get caught out by the V-carb there? No, he won't. And into the final corner. Can Quantum get onto provisional pole there? He's improved in 2 sectors, and he does in the third, but he's 600ths off Oscar. Great effort, not enough.
Yeah, very good effort, especially in the final sector there from Quantum. It was near on a perfect lap from his point of view, but yeah, 600ths off. Excuse me, just not quite good enough, but a good effort nonetheless, as that's Matej Manga and Mateus going into P6 and P8 respectively. I'm currently on board with Sieb. IRT looking pretty good at P4 and P5 at the moment. They need to stop this continuation of one driver being up there and one driver being low at the back of the field. They need both drivers towards the sharp end of the grid, as that's Alessi going into P3 now with a 30.3, so joining the 0.3 club there, but it's not pole position, as that is Sieb running wide and cutting the corner at the penultimate corner. That is his lap done. He was slightly up. Sorry.
Invalid.
Yep.
Turn 19.
Another one to foul victim. What does Phil do? He does exactly the same. Extends turn 19.
Yeah, driver's being caught out there. Oscar 300ths down and invalid as well. So some of the front runners not managing to get a valid lap in on their final attempt. We've still got Nargio to come in the other Red Bull. Oh well, he's long finished that lap, and he will not improve, so he will start no higher than P9. Mateo Manga's already finished, as we've seen. Digio rounds the final corner, only 100ths down. Can he break into the top 10 as Pony Massey goes up to 8? No, Digio can't improve either. BRT Finn on his fairy tale return to the TTC grid can only manage P13. Can Kevin Zunberg get a lap time on the board? This is important here. Melvin, has gone up to P16, gets a lap time. Kevin goes into the top 10. That's crucial for EVR just to get a lap time there. And and here comes L3OER, and this lap time will not be valid either. So again, an awful lot of drivers getting caught out as, well, in all that time, the TRT duo have done a whole nother lap of the circuit. So yeah, a long time between the first and last cars coming over, but in the end, Oscar still takes pole.
Indeed, and well, he was actually down on his time after the first two sectors, even though he had invalidated, so maybe that lap that he did on his second attempt was the best lap he could have got in there, but in the end just holds on from Quantum and Allison, or Alessin, however you want to say it. Top three separated by, what's that, less than 8 hundredths of a second, but look at that, over 4 tenths back to Justin in P4. Is this something we're going to expect in the race? Although we have seen that Justin himself is very good here around cold. He might not have had the qualifying he wanted, but maybe SCI can control it at the front. They have 2 cars in the top 4, followed closely by the row 3 of IRT. But so far so good for Oscar. It's P1, it's pole position, and SCI's first pole of the season.
Yeah, correct. Qualifying not been their strength. It has been tonight. Justin was 3 tenths up, could well have potentially gone, well, front row, maybe even pole, depending on how good that final sector was. Up until the invalidation, he will start 4th behind Alessin in 3rd and Quantum in 2nd. 3rd row lockout for IRT. That's more like it as a team. 5th for Sieb, 6th for Phil, and Mateusz in P7 had a polymassive connection issues. Let's hope that doesn't come back to bite him today. Nagio in 9th and Kevin Zunberg rounding out the top 10. There's the rest of the grids as we scroll down to the bottom, just in case we need that for a restart. We'll have a few minutes, fingers crossed, before we get going here this evening. It's time to make predictions once we've seen the weather, because of course, well, we know how much that will change our opinion, and it's looking dry, Bobbert.
It's looking dry initially, pretty much looks like exactly the same as it was in qualifying, but obviously we don't know what it's going to hold for the next sort of 30 to 40 minutes. I'm just making an announcement for the drivers to when to ready up. Hopefully they pay attention. Give them just over 2 minutes to decide what they're going to do. That should be more than enough time. I remember the times when it was that kept on complaining to me, saying, "Oh, you know, should ready up at this because it's too long." I'm like, no, I decide when we go, deal with it. Anyways, yes, predictions. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's a case of what can Quantum and Allison do with the SCI duo? Can IRT get involved in there? Could somebody from towards the back get involved? Can Bravo Racing Club get a finish? That's the other thing, I think, as well. They've been so unlucky this season with disconnects and one thing and another. You know, Polymassy there started in P8, where I think similar positions where he qualified in Spa as well. His teammate unfortunately down in P16, but let's see what they can do this time around. But I'll be honest, I think I see one of the SCI duo winning this race. As to which one, I don't know. I don't really care, just so long as one of them does. But they've got, you know, Quantum and Allison in particular, who are certainly going to give them a run for their money. But one thing is for sure with this track, and it's a little bit more profound compared to others, is fresher tyres is key. Even if you get the undercut and you gain those couple of seconds, you're going to be so much slower towards the end of the race, even with just 1 lap difference of tyres. So strategy is going to be key, and with SCI having 2 drivers towards the front, it possibly could be a downfall as well as a strategic advantage at the same time. It's one of those balancing acts, but we'll have to wait and see.
My notes, well, I've just kind of put this down. Lap 7 to 12 pit window. Would you agree? For
Something,
the kind of
yeah,
undercut and overcut options?
I think the earliest pitters could be some maybe around about lap 10. If you really want to gamble it, maybe somebody towards the back just to try and gain some positions. Maybe try and have the track position if that will work out for them. Again, I think as somebody as late as lap 13, but tyre wear is obviously a big thing around here, like it is on most tracks. It is going to be a medium to hard strategy. There is no real other strategy, you know, for this track in particular, like it is on most circuits, to what tyre compound to go on, really. And, you know, it gone are the days of doing hard to medium all the time. We're now going the other way around on this game. It's weird what difference one game can change in terms of strategy aspect, but it is still the same. One stop, just tyre wear, especially for the pad drivers, is going to be key. I mean, I'm trying to think which tyre it's going to be. It's going to be that front right tyre in particular, I think, with it being a anti-clockwise circuit, that's going to take the brunt of it.
yeah, still those some long right-hand corners as well, like 16, 17, 18, that could still pose a little bit of a risk on the front left. Here we go then for round number 4 of the Premier Tier season here in TTC. We're underway in Austin, Texas, and the pole sitter Oscar looking to get a good getaway, but Quantum on the pad is already giving him something to think about into the first corner. It's Oscar from Quantum and then Alessin, and it gets a bit of a nudge from Justin, who's trying to battle his way up into third, and he does. A vital start for the SCI driver, who is looking to turn this potentially into another 1-2 hit high. Polymassy and Phil side by side through the S's. They've come together not once but twice there, still pointing the right direction as Polymassy sweeps around the outside, and then Phil does exactly the same thing to him at the next corner. What a battle on the opening lap between those two, as IRT maintain their 5th and 6th off the start. They're now looking forward to see if they can get involved as a team in the battle at the front. Now Guillaume and Mateusz now going side by side into turn 11. It's a drag race on the exit of the corner as the Frenchman just moves over to the left ever so slightly. I think Mateusz wanted some slipstream, so no surprise that they kind of caught each other in their trajectories. It looks to have settled down going into turn 12.
It looks a bit, oh wow, Kevin already with a 3-second time penalty. I don't know if that was a straight corner cut there going into the braking zone, or if he's already picked up 3 warnings. We'll have to have a look at that one for VT Man, as his teammate Finn, who's not had the greatest starts, making contact there with the Alpine of Thiago and crowding us to get involved. These 5 at the back are really duking it out. But yeah, that was fantastic between Phil and Polymassy, switching from one way and the other. Whoever had the outside line seemed to be the preferred line, which is not the racing line, as that was Mateusz going very wide at the penultimate corner, getting closer to Mexico than he was actually to here. But nonetheless, lap 1 done, 27 still to go. It is Oscar who still leads away from Quantum, but Justin getting himself ahead of a lesson is very important for SCI's strategy, and obviously to maximise points. They're ahead of both VNT drivers now, with the second driver now obviously now up to P8 after getting that place on Mateusz on that opening lap. We are side by side there in the background. I'm trying to see who that was. I think it's actually Crowding. I think it was yes, it was Crowding and Thiago there going side by side. Crowding maintaining P16. Not had a good qualifying again for his Crowding, but at least he's made up places at the start and not gone backwards. As well, I say that now. He's now going backwards. He's technically last after picking up. I mean, that's another thing with this track. Time penalties. That is a lunge from Finn, and yeah, thank God he missed everybody there, or else that could have been a big pile-up. But yeah, this track is definitely renowned for its track extending and corner cut. The penalties are easy to pick up here. Once you pick up one, it's so easy to pick up another. That is Kevin down the inside of Mateusz, who's lost yet another position. The TRT driver just falling down the field. That's 3 places lost already within the first lap and a half.
Yeah, now up 4 places for Crowding, or switch of track position there from Max Power, who tries to go back down the inside of Crowding, but gets caught on his rear left tyre. Remember, it's twice as wide on the back of Crowding's cars. God, that wasn't very nice. I've just laughed at
you copied me from last week. That's what you're doing. And the week before.
You know when you laugh thinking of something and then you just can't execute. So that's exactly what I've done there. Oh, that was poor. I'm sorry. We've got to entertain ourselves.
He's sorry, not sorry, by the way.
Train. Yeah, pretty much.
Nonetheless, Alessin has dropped out of the DRS of the top 3. Now, is there damage that we can't see on that front wing of that Red Bull, or is this just pace? Because he's not really got a lot of battery. In fact, he's got the lowest battery out of the top 4. I mean, Justin himself hasn't got much more, but Alessin seems to be struggling. I mean, well, I say that, he's now got himself back within the DRS, but that Red Bull seems to be struggling, whether if it's, I don't know if that's setup related or if he's just struggling, I'm not too sure, or even, like I said, could have light green wing damage maybe from that slight little bit of contact with Justin, which if there was, I'd be very surprised. But yeah, Alessin's struggling at the moment as he is now harvesting. Quantum not really interested in making the move on Oscar, sorry, going into the braking zone, just wanting to stay behind and just save that battery as much as he can, where all the action seems to be down the bottom end of the pecking order, but so far this lap it is just flying formation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Justin did give him the elbows on the first corner, so it's possible he's carrying something that's maybe not even visible to him or anybody at the team, because nobody's coming going, well, unless he's got damage, that's why he's a bit slower. Quantum's wide. Quantum is wide at turn 19. Here comes Justin. Well, this is an unusual mistake for Quantum. Oh, and he gets away with it for the time being, and Justin doesn't really have much battery to get after him on the start-finish straight as well. Big sigh of relief there, because that could have been race over, and SCI driving off into the midday sun here in Texas.
Indeed, that's yeah, Quantum can count his lucky stars with that, as that is a swap of position between the two VCAL drivers and the Racing Bulls. We've seen Crowding now going ahead of his teammate Melwin there. So Crowding maybe obviously struggling in the qualifying, but certainly looking like he has the race pace, and that is Mateus once again losing positions, and now he's letting his teammate go. Has he got the same issue as Allison here? Has his tyres maybe overheated? Actually, that's another option, another thing that could potentially be included in this. But Mateus now down into P12, and there's no visible damage on the front of that McLaren, but he's certainly struggling from where he qualified, and he's just dropping even further back now. So definitely an issue with that McLaren, at least, as Ward now with the DRS trying to get a move done there. I can see that Seba's gone for the move on Allison, or is attempting it. But Mateus just about holds on in the end, and Seb does actually get the move done there on the Red Bull of Allison. And yeah, Allison again seems to be struggling now. IRT will want to take full advantage now in P4 and P6. Phil will want to get ahead of that Red Bull and can make it a 4-5.
Yeah, Ward's unsuccessful in his attempt to overtake Mateus, and now Crowding has passed him for P13, so another position gained for the AERT Visa Cash App RB team, and yes, now approaching double points if they can get Melwin up another position as well. Seb 2.2 seconds behind Justin now. We really do have a quite obvious split in this train, and our podium might well be complete for the remainder of this race, because even if, say, Justin has to pit a lap later, that's really not enough. There's a big enough gap so that he doesn't get undercut, is what I'm trying to suggest.
Yeah, no, definitely agree with you there, yeah. I mean, Steve might be able to close up that little bit. He seems to maintain that gap, obviously, just through the first sector, but he's not going to have the DRS, obviously. He's not within that 1 second window, as Melwin did get the move done on Wards there, so that is AERT now with a double point scoring position at the moment, speculating Crowding's penalty. But it's interesting to see how the different, I don't know, paces of people in this race. It's like, I mean, I didn't expect Allison to be this slow. I don't want to say the word slow, because he's not slow by any means. It's his teammate now who's just been overtaken by Kevin Zumberg there for P8, and Kevin making his way through the field now, getting on the inside of Niall there. Niall trying to fight back. He's going to try and cut it underneath, going into the double left-hander, but no move there done. He stops in behind. But we have got several different trains here. I mean, top three have broken away now. Seaweed's now 2.8 behind, lost half a second this lap. Then you've got this next train of 6 drivers down to P9.
Oh! Crowding is sideways. Sorry to interrupt there. Crowding has just drifted round the triple right-hander. He just put the battery on and then decided, oh, you know what, let's rift, actually, instead of overtaking. Still trying to get his way past Mateus, who we have seen struggling. Is he going to have another go up towards turn 1? He's certainly up for it this evening. Down the inside goes Crowding. Oh, that is superb. We love a dive bomb. We've got another one, and Crowding is up into P12. Big move.
Oh,
no! Oh, commentator's curse.
Yeah, perfect commentator's curse there. I mean, it was a great move, but, well, they just come to blows there between the pair of them. And, well, if Mateus' race couldn't get any worse, it certainly has. Crowding's race that was going pretty well certainly isn't. That's him without a front wing. Mateus has now lost half of his wing. That's, well, one driver for each of their teams. Pretty much out of it, unless we get a safety car, but yeah, that was just a banging of wheels and just not enough space given on what is essentially was actually a straight part of the racetrack. Well, onwards and upwards, I guess you could say. At least it promotes Melwin, actually, but I say that. Watson now just got ahead of him for T12, and here comes Max Power now, wanting to go down the inside as Melwin locks up there, going into the braking zone, but just about gets it stopped without hitting the Alpine there, and maintains P13 at least. That gap is now 3.5 seconds as we've got a yellow flag. Not sure what that's for.
Potentially Leo in P18, as Mateus has just gained a couple of seconds on him, as maybe just gone off the track. I don't think he was really battling anyone either, so an unusual one there. Mateus and Crowding, the incident on lap 6 be surely reported after this race, as Grumpy has got in the live chat and said, yeah, idiots. Calling Mateusz there an idiot.
Yeah, I guess we say no. Yep, make of that what you will as Mateusz goes into the pits. Are we going to see the usual retirement that we normally see from drivers when something happens? No, he's actually going to continue, change the wing. Hard tyres going on, it's too early to get those to the end of the race, so that'll be a 2-stop for him now to the end of the race, and hopefully have to pray for a safety car. Out in front, it's still Oscar from Quantum and Justin. These three have not changed position since Justin got the jump on Allison, but that gap now up to 3.8 seconds to see who is not slow, and Allison is not interested in making a move. He has got a full battery, to be fair to him. But that gap is just growing, and it is a 3-horse race out in front, which is perfect for what SCI would want. Quant is 2 against 1. They will just work together to, well, hopefully try and make it a 1-2 finish, which would be their second of the season. It's a case of what happens in further behind. And here comes Kevin Zumberg down the inside of Polly Massey, and once again we've seen a perfect attempt of a dive bomb. Polly Massey trying to come. I think I just saw the hand go up there from his driver, and that's the hand of rage. He's witnessing it there for the first time, but Polly Massey gets the move back on Kevin there, going into the double left-hander. Great re-overtake there on the Ferrari. From Nal might have been a bit closer to maybe capitalising that, but certainly wasn't. But yes, the hand of rage came out there from the BRC man.
In round 1, he disconnected, finished a lap down. In round 3, he disconnected, finished 34 seconds off the lead. Polly Massey has done 8 laps without disconnecting, ladies and gentlemen, and he is in P7. Bravo Racing Club looking to get back into the positive values for points after the instance a couple of weeks ago, smurfing. We all know what happened. We don't need to go back into that again, but yes, this might be the turnaround they need. And of course, looking to get off the bottom of TF10 in 12th and 16th. They're only scoring, 3 points so far in this race. So we'll think of that battle as we continue on, but we are just hoping and praying we don't see a third disconnect of the season for Polly Massey.
Yeah, especially not this early part of the season where, like I said, this is literally round 4 of 15, and yes, 2 disconnects in 3 rounds is bad enough, but 3 out of 4, that's just rubbing salt into things even more so. If it didn't hurt already, it would hurt even more for him. But, running in P7, he's doing a good job, and Kevin is not close enough this time around to try and make another lunge and diving attempt. Excuse me. Again, see, just controlling this sort of train really from P4. That is now down to Digio. Digio now caught up. Oh my god, that's lag. I thought you made a big mistake there with Junction, but no, that was lag on my side, I think. But yeah, Digio's now caught up to this train, showing that maybe Seb hasn't quite got the pace. And well, let's see what Digio can do. This team is down in P18 and not scoring any points. It is down to him to try and score some points for himself and for his team, obviously, but still got a long way to go. We are only on lap 9 now. Early pit stops may come into play next lap. See what ends. It's going to be a case of what will this train of drivers do, that P4 down to P10. As I say that, Digio's teammate L30ER-09. It sounds like the McLaren MP4-12C really when you do it like that. He makes an early pit stop to try and get a big undercut on those ahead of him, which is going to pay dividends now, but will certainly suffer towards the end of the race. But yeah, I don't expect anybody to make a pit stop on this lap now, and we'll probably go at least one more. Want to get those hard tyres to the end of the race, but we've actually kept formation for about 2 laps now, Joseph, which is unusual from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, some certainly battling. It's not as if nothing's happened, but again, just descending into that lull as the pit window can now be declared open, I think, after that roll of the dice from Leo to try and get himself back in points contention. I mean, there's still a 5-second gap between 14th and 15th, and he's got a penalty, so scrap everything once again that I just said as the commentator's cursing continues this evening. 4 drivers with a penalty. My understanding is that Kevin Zumberg's was yes on lap 1, but also it was just one of those from the game that just gave him 3 at the exact same time, so that is able to be appealed at this stage. Max Power and Melvin going side by side, holding it on nice into it, and very easy to break traction into the triple right-hander, and then Max Power denied a little bit of room that he would have wanted going into turn 19. a bit frustrated, sort of just wanted himself off the track, probably shaking his head in the process.
Indeed, yeah, certainly wasn't going to be happy with that as Van has decided to make a pit stop now, the second driver to do so, to go on the hard tyres. Yeah, Max Verstappen certainly wasn't going to be seething and doing his own impression of the Hand of Rage to Melwin there. We'll want to get closer up to him and, well, try and go again. But, yeah, it's nothing really happening in the top 10. And Mateo Manga, if you thought his teammate was struggling, he's struggling himself. I mean, he's on his own. He's quick enough, he's more than quick enough to beat those behind him, but not really making any impressions on the 10 in front. And again, that gap now up to 6 seconds pretty much between Justin and Steve. There was a point actually where Quantum almost lost the DRS to Oscar on the previous lap, but he's managed to gain that back again, back to that 6-7 gap as it has been, and seems to be as you were. But yeah, these three are just in a completely different league. But if you look at the actual battery levels, Joseph, Oscar's got twice the battery pretty much compared to the other two.
Yeah, it's just such a commanding performance as ever from Oscar. Right before you joined, I was on about Oscar's form. 8 podiums in his last 8 team races for SCI. One of those, of course, Hungary in TTC, looking to make it 9 from 9. This is sort of talking best in the game form, I'd go as far to say, as Kevin Zumberg now, Gio Diggio will come to the pit lane.
Indeed, yeah, like I said, this is going to be the early time for people to go for undercuts, and I did expect people from that second train to try and go for that, and we do have some takers, so keep an eye out on those on their outlaps, and certainly the likes of C, well, one DIT driver is going to have to pit, probably going to be C by the 4th, being the lead driver, to, you know, respond to those going onto those hard compound tyres. As yet, so we've got the top 10 still out there on their mediums, the bottom 10 are now on the hard compound of tyre to go to the end of the race, but certainly might spice things up a bit. Will certainly shake up the field, as I did think for a second Allison was getting much closer there to Sieb, and this is the closest he has been for a little while now. 4.5 tenths is the gap. He's on the battery now, got the overtake on. DRS is open. Are we going to go for a move here on the Aston Martin in front of us? He's getting closer. We're still on the overtake. He's wanting to get the move done, but a late defence there by Sieb, which was more than fair, and Allison has to stay in behind the Aston Martin for now, wanting to get this move done. Perhaps there's an intention of him going into the pits on this lap, as we have a little bit of a wobble there from the traction, as, I mean, look at those penalties coming through now. This is Kota all over for you.
Yeah, it is. Whatever Alessin's struggles were earlier in the race, he's managed to rectify it, get on with it, and still maintain position in P5 and actually start to come back on the offensive to Sieb. We've got our first pitter of the front runners, and it's Quantum from P2 undercutting both SCI drivers. This is interesting now. He will inevitably take the net race lead and will now be the driver defending. So, let's see. Obviously, quick pit stops for everybody. Level playing field in the pit lane, as we all know. Quantum now needs to nail this out lap. He's got a really, really good chance of holding on here. He had to roll the dice. He had to get himself into first. That's the only way he was going to do it.
Indeed, yeah, so he's going for the short-term gain, long-term pain, as that is Kevin Zumberg getting... that was Finn, getting ahead of Sieb there. I thought it was Kevin, my apologies, but Kevin has gained out of this, because look at that, Alessin is now behind him. So that one lap undercut has done wonders for the Ferrari man, but obviously we'll see in the next 16 laps where that will put him at the end. But look at this, BRT Finn. I say BRT, he's just not changing game attack. Somebody give him £8 please so we can change it. Just like about half the drivers that need to change their game attack. But this is not going to help his teammate. Or Kevin, or Steve, or anyone for that matter, because the likes of Phil and Polly Massey, they're just going to gain out of this with their fresher hard tyres. But here we go on this big DRS train. They're all going to want to get ahead of the Ferrari, not at least Kevin. But there goes Steve now to the inside line. Kevin wants to try and fall, so indeed he will. We're now going to go too wide into the braking zone. Kevin nearly hitting, but in fact, no, once but twice hitting the back of the Aston Martin there, but doesn't get ahead. Finn now is going to do a jump for his teammate and hold up the 2 Red Bulls. But look at that, one side and then the other. Like formation going round the inside and outside of Finn, whose tyres have just completely gone as he's now diving down the inside for no real reason. But now get playing these back at least. But Finn's coming in this, like you can just see it. His tyres have just absolutely, oh my word, I would nearly make contact with the Williams.
Yeah, I don't think he really needed to go as defensive. He was best off just driving normally into the corner and then not really giving a lesson. And then now Gio a route to get past him. He was protecting his teammate, of course, that's why he did it. Kevin Zumberg is now up into 5th as Quantum gets a 4-second jump on Justin.
Yep. I did see that as well. Now, I don't know if Justin had an issue on his in-lap, but as Kevin picks up his second time penalty, so if he had one to get removed, it's certainly now not going to get 2 to be removed. But yeah, I mean, just look at the difference on the one-lap pressure tyres. That is absolutely insane. That's what we should be seeing, really, is the... You know, I was expecting 2 to 3 seconds. I certainly wasn't expecting nearly 4, but that's certainly going to play into his hands at the moment. But yeah, Oscar will obviously have to pit this lap, and there's probably a very good likelihood he'll come up behind his teammate. So the SCO Bars will work together, though, at least to close back in on the Kicksauber of Quantum, who... Yeah, will take the net race lead once Oscar does make that pit stop. Sieb now 4.8 seconds behind Justin, so he has gained close to...
No, Gio, what?
Well, I'm glad you did that because I completely missed it.
Oh, I nearly took Phil with him as we tried to get back within the track limit. Sorry, I had to very quickly point that out. I thought it was going to be a crash for one moment, but it wasn't. Oscar's in, right. 15 seconds between himself and Justin. Big moment as Sieb gets a penalty in this race. He won't be a threat now to the podium. Where does Oscar come out in all of this? Here comes the Aston Martin behind him off Sieb. Now, be comfortably in that gap. But again, about 3 seconds behind Justin. He's got 6 seconds to catch if he wants to win this race, having commanded this so far.
Indeed, yeah, and well, again, so that's 2-lap pressure tyres on the hards to his old mediums. Yeah, losing, well, in the end, the best part of 6.5, close to 7 seconds to Quantum. But he's got 3 seconds to gain on his teammates. So if they want to work together, Oscar's going to have to get a move on here, but he's going to have the pressure tyres, and he should be able to do it. But we'll have to wait and see, as we've still not quite reached half race distance yet. We will come the end of this lap. But look at that, look at Sieb now, less than 2 seconds off the back of Oscar. That gap will probably grow out again, but this pack has split up a bit from what was P4 downwards. You've got Sieb, Kevin and Alison now have broken away from Phil, Niall and Digio. Polymassi's now gone to the back of this train.
Yeah, he has indeed, and still without the inevitable that we've seen so far this season for him. He was running in P7 before the pit stops. Looking at those penalties, he's still got a good chance to be there or thereabouts. He's got 2 drivers in front of him on older hard tyres. It's just whether or not there's a use of that 1-lap old set of rubber to get past them both. We're approaching lap 15 now. Quantum's already crossed the line and still has a 3.2 second lead. Remember, it was about 4 seconds when he came out the pit lane, so after 2 laps, at a gain of about 4 tenths each lap, it's not looking like it'll be close as of yet. I don't know if AWS can tell us whether the striking range is an option, but it doesn't seem like it for now.
No, it doesn't, but Oscar actually gained more time on Justin than what Justin did to Quantum. I think he gained the best part of 6 to 7 tenths of a second. So maybe Oscar is the one. Well, Oscar obviously much closer to his teammate, so yeah, Oscar will close his teammate down quicker. He'll get the DRS, then we'll just swap places, and then hopefully Oscar can drag his teammate and they can both catch Quantum. But we'll keep an eye on that. I'd probably say in the next 8 to 10 laps. That is my Bobbert's prediction, not AWS prediction. That's Bobbert's prediction, is striking distance of 8 to 10 laps. We'll see how right or wrong I am on that, based off if there's any safety cars or not. Volo Kongan asking in the chat that Oscar really wanted a fact. Can you give him one till he watches the stream after the race? The answer is no, I don't do charity work. If you don't spend your points, you don't get it, even if you are a teammate. So, no.
Oscar, pause, go into AI, and then redeem your charity points.
Exactly,
then so do that, and then you can get a fact. Polymassy and Digio side by side. Polymassy couldn't get through, and in fact, I think there was contact, and Polymassy just kind of stalled out the corner.
Yes, there was a little bit of contact between the pair of them, as there goes Justin now setting the fastest lap, immediately beaten by 4 tenths of a second by Oscar, so now they are really starting to set the pace like that. Well, saying that, Justin only gained 3 tenths on Quantum that lap. Oscar gaining, best part of 3/4 of a second. So again, that seems to be that sort of Yeah, how much quicker that they each start over the quick Sauber in front as Seb obviously now starting to fall behind with that of those old tyres. Kevin doing a good job still in P5 to hang on to it, but he does have 2 penalties, so Allison at the moment looking good for P4 for Venturi at the moment, who need these places. Now they're down in P8, but again will promote himself up. Yeah, Digio Polymassi coming to blows there near enough between the pair of them, but they seem to have the pace over Niall here, who's actually struggling a little bit as Mateus picks up another time penalty with his, well, obviously he's got the oldest tyres out of everybody in there, between himself and Crowding, but we seem to have like trains of 3 or 4 cars here, there and everywhere, as Oscar now only 1.6 seconds off the back of his teammates. So give that another lap or so and he will be ahead. But here comes Digio down the inside of Niall. He's going to get the move done this time around, and indeed he does. Both of them on 5-lap older tyres. Polymassi has 2-lap fresher tyres. He might go for a send down the inside here to keep it out on what the Haas driver does. The answer is no. Sticks to the racing line, not interested at the moment.
Compromised himself as well, having the smallest of looks on Digio. Just behind this, Wards overtook Mattia Manga, who has a penalty. We're soon approaching a world where almost our entire bottom 6 or 7 are going to have time penalties. Max Power next to try and overtake the Italian. Can he do so into turn 1? We're on equal footing in terms of tyres. No, I think that is just too far back for him to try and make that lunge. It's lap 17 of 28, Quantum leading 2.5 seconds over Justin. Oscar will soon approach the back of his teammate. Justin likely to wave the white flag. Say, Oscar, you're on the pressure tyres, go and get him. You know, you are absolutely rapid at this point.
Indeed, yeah, he's not going to, I said this last week, he's not going to wave the white flag like the French do. You know, they're very well renowned for that, but yeah, certainly. But saying that, Justin's only lost about 1/10 this lap so far to Oscar through the first lap and a half. Sorry, this first half a lap here. So Justin's pace seems to have picked up, or Oscar's has slightly diminished, and both of them have actually got lower battery compared to Quantum in front. So they're certainly going to need to help each other along here. It's going to close in actually, but that gap's now down to 1.1 seconds, so maybe Oscar can get the DRS through going down the pit straight. If he gets close enough, it's down to, well, briefly down to a second. I mean, Justin could just lay off the throttle that a little bit, maybe to have his teammate, but might just lose time. So nothing really happening. Alessin there getting very close, as is fit to the back of Alessin, with Kevin now. I think his tyres are starting to show their extra lap or 2 of wear. IRT in this little Aston Martin sandwich here at the front in P4 and 7, filled without the penalty, Seaton with the penalty. So maybe the idea here is, well, Phil want to get the move done on Alessin.
Oscar now in DRS of Justin. So we'll see how the SCI duo treat this going forwards. Alessin, as you rightly say, 6th, net 4th on penalties, but again, it's just not been able to recover from what was a pretty miserable start. Losing a position seemed pretty insignificant, but then totally all momentum in the opening stint of the race. Again, still a mystery whether or not he is carrying any sort of minor front wing damage on that Red Bull. Nothing we could see with the naked eye, but maybe you might share his experience after the race. We'll wait and see on that one. Polymassi still stuck behind Nargio and Digio. Nargio went for it a lap ago on Digio. Well, he actually lost the position, sorry. Tried to get it back, couldn't quite do it. And Polymassi is an awful lot closer this time to Nargio than the Red Bull is to the Williams. He's run out of battery though. Not great management on Polymassi's part. It's the only real way you can get past the Red Bull. He's kind of been forced to defend, even though Polymassi had no battery. Looks again down the inside in turn 13. Can't quite get it done. Snap of oversteer on the exit, and again. And that course is once again run for Polymassi as he still fights for a very good top 10 finish, all things considered, but it really should be more.
Yeah, indeed, it should be more. As well, Oscar now within 6/10 of his teammate. I thought they would be switching positions on this lap, as there's the penalty for Digio now, unfortunately for him. So now the Polymassi will be fighting for what is a net P8, but that gap is maintained at 2.5 seconds between Quantum and Justin this last couple of laps. So I think it's the time now where Oscar needs to get ahead. He is saving that battery though, I have noticed. So he's going to be using that to try and propel himself that little bit closer. But so is Quantum. Quantum's only got 10% less than the second Mercedes driver. But I think we're going to have a swap of positions here coming down the DRS straight between the two drivers. Oscar clearly the quicker driver. It's a no-brainer. It's got to be done. Is Justin's on medium. He's not using any overtake whatsoever. Here comes Oscar now with the overtake and DRS. There is the swap of positions. He's now got 9 laps to close down Quantum.
9 laps indeed to close in 2 seconds, and Quantum will be getting a little bit worried now that it is Oscar behind him and not Justin. Not to undermine Justin, but since Oscar's been putting in them purple laps, yeah, it does look like it is going to be close at the end of this race. Removable, says Beetle. I'm not quite sure who you're alluding to, because
that might be to Digio, potentially.
Yes, it would have been. I couldn't quite remember who popped up and when, because we've got so many penalties on the board.
Yes.
And, yes.
11 drivers. 11 drivers with penalties, 9 without penalties, which again alludes to what I said earlier on in the stream. But I didn't expect this many drivers. But wow, it's yeah, you're seeing the screen there, all those black and white flags. It's reminds me of me getting them.
Yeah, track limits are broken though. There's no secret that double and triple warnings are a thing. So a lot of race director screenshots, I think, after this one. Consider that a reminder, team managers. Tell your drivers to get screenshots if they are indeed removable. The chrome liveried McLaren, Mattia Manga. I forgot I put that on. I was wondering why it looked a bit less papaya. Yeah, it's because the game just randomly gave us the option to have that livery, and Max Power looking to overtake it, still unable to do so. Stuck behind Mattia Manga for a while now, but that is just the nature of F125. You might feel faster, but you're unable to show it because of the dirty air predicament. And we train for P4 exactly the same way. Sieb just chilling, looking after everybody. Oh, Alessin went for it. He had a look down the inside of Kevin.
Look, have you seen the gap out in front though? Have you seen that gap out in front? Oscar has all of a sudden, in the space of just over a lap, has caught over 2 seconds. The gap was what, 2.2 seconds? Is now less than a second. My striking distance prediction of 8 to 10 laps is completely wrong. It's about half that. It's about 5 laps, I think. Make this now the start of the 6th lap. So, but here we go now. Oscar and Justin both have the DRS on each other and onto Quantum. It is a 3-way fight once again with 8 laps to go here. Has this undercut strategy not paid off for Quantum? He does have the battery over the 2 Mercedes drivers, but they will just cruise and save their battery now as he will be using it. The fight is on though, and they're 10 seconds clear of Sieb.
I wouldn't rule it out just yet for Quantum. Overtaking is a whole nother ball game. Still though, 2 lap tyre advantage for Oscar will give him an increased chance of making it. The question is when. If he leaves it too late, the tyre performance might start to even out and he might not have an opportunity at all. Yellow flag at the back. I think that it is for Mateusz of TRT, who ever since that collision with Crowding, not really gone to plan this race for either of them, has it? And he has been into the pits again for another set of hard tyres. Crowding might well be puncturing at the end of this race, as he's on 14 lap old hard tyres, but really does nothing to our order, does it, as he sits down in P20. No retirement so far. Again, just the one major collision between Mateusz and Crowding, with under green flags for all of it. Polly Massey has finally got past Niall Guillaume, but how much longer as the Red Bull tries to go back up the inside? It's been a good week for France in motorsport. Isaac Agile's podium at the weekend. Niall Guillaume won't be replicating it. Instead, he sits behind Polly Massey.
Indeed, Polly Massey finally getting that move done. He's tried so many times to get ahead of that stubborn Red Bull. It's kind of like watching Max Verstappen in some respects, you could say, but as a French equivalent. But no, Polly Massey gets the move done. He's now got his eyes set on Digio, but obviously Digio does carry that penalty, which could be removed. We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, it's P9 for the BRC man, who is still in the lobby, thankfully, and hopefully I have not jinxed that. Out in front, the gap is now 0.4 of a second between Quantum and Oscar has now got a full battery. It's game on at the front. Oscar now in the pound seat.
He is indeed. Quantum still holding his own though on 70%. Good battery management between the pair of them. And that's really what has set some drivers apart in this race. We've been on board with drivers and they've just had absolutely nothing. And they are on the attack, trying to overtake the fresher tyres. Oscar is now in this position. Here he comes on Quantum for the race lead, going around the outside at turn number 12. Can he get the move done? No. Quantum holds the inside line. Oscar went in just a little bit too deep and still defends the inside. Oversteer for Oscar. He gets caught out in the dirty air. So you can see the turbulence impact the car, and he won't get it done on lap 22. That was his best chance, his only chance so far, and he just got it a bit wrong under braking.
Indeed, yeah, he went for, well, obviously he had considerably more speed compared to the kicks over there. That's Crowding with another penalty, and well, he's pack your bags and go home, I'm afraid, Crowding. But yeah, just a bit too much speed for Oscar going into braking zone. Tried around the outside, but Quantum just took the racing line, and it was easy held in the end. But Justin now getting even closer now to the pair of them. 0.6 of a second covers the top three. And oh dear, for IRT now with Phil having a penalty now as well, and what could have been a potential P4 for him has kind of just gifted it to Allison. Now as Polly Massey, as I've missed, has got ahead of Digio for PA. Digio, is he going to go for a move back with the DRS? No, goes back into non, not interested. We'll just want to follow the Haas driver in front of him, let him do the donkey work and pull him along. But yeah, shame there for Phil to pick up that penalty wherever he got it, but yeah, just joins the non-exclusive club.
He's still within penalty range of Kevin, of course. We assume that Kevin will appeal, but there still might be other drivers that do so as well, with the double and triple warnings. Here comes Oscar again now, and he's so much closer this time. Quantum just says, oh, come on then, just have it. And Oscar retakes the lead, and we're back to square one with Oscar, Quantum and Justin now covering the top three. It was coming, and that was a lot less dramatic than it was a lap ago, but still getting the snap of oversteer coming out of turn 13. You've got to say it's not over till it's over, but Quantum's slightly more worn tyres just look a little bit more of a handful. I don't think he'll be able to fight for the race lead formally. He'll stay in the DRS more than likely, but yeah, it could be done for him now.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it's been a valiant effort there by Quantum, but and at one point it looked like it was looking pretty good for him, but the age of the tyre is now certainly showing, and yeah, I think if he can stay with Oscar, he has a chance of maintaining P2 ahead of Justin. But is it a matter of time? Give it a couple of laps, maybe those tyres are just going to go. Oh well, we don't need to give it time now. There's the penalty, and that is essentially the nail in the coffin there for Quantum, and what should now be an SCI 1-2, as that is L30ER-09. I'm going to say that every time now. going for a spin.
Yeah, front wing damage as well for the Williams. He comes into the pit lane and he has retired. He's our first retirement of the race after 24 laps. We did quite well, I think, to get that far without anybody going, no, I've had enough, I'm coming in. And Tiago now gets another penalty as well. That's Leo out of the race, Leo for short, but yeah, quite the Wi-Fi password of a name. You've got to like remind people that there's a dash in it, in the uppercase and lowercase letters. Hard to break into.
Indeed, yes, very hard. It's kind of like a safe, really, just with letters and not numbers. And that is now Polly Massey picking up a time penalty himself. I'm guessing he just cuts the inside of turn 12 there, which is a shame. And now that helps another Red Bull driver, in this case of now Gio, potentially could be in a net P8. It's like a lesson with not having a penalty, gaining places himself. So Ventari might actually gain more out of this than what initially could have been. I mean, on cards, maybe for a P4 and P8, which is not what he would have wanted, but it could have been a lot worse. But at least by keeping it clean and within track limits, you are going to benefit. But I mean, if you look at that, you've only got 6 drivers now that's still in this race who do not have a penalty. That's 2/3 of the grid having a penalty.
Yeah, it's been quite a poor showing for track limits, I must say. Some drivers will argue that it's just broken, they didn't extend, and maybe on second look, yeah, okay, maybe they have crossed that white line a few too many times. We've got request a fact from Coda. Anything for him?
No, I wasn't actually looking in the chat, I'll be brutally honest, as I've now seen it, for God's sake. Your fact is Oscar's going to win. There's your fact.
Actually, if he gets a penalty, still might not, because Justin is there.
Well, then,
okay,
if that's the case, but thank goodness that wasn't Oscar getting a penalty. Oh, that's Mateus making the second driver to retire in the pit lane. Means Crowding is now up to P18 at least, but on his 18 lap old tyres. So that's going to be the new prediction: is will Crowding get a puncture?
Yes.
Yes, there we go. You've heard it here first. Joseph says yes.
McLaren and Alpine side by side. Wards and Mattia Manga. It was Max Power looking to make the move for a long time. So now Ward's overtaking Mattia Manga, and he gets the move done. He's without a penalty and up into P11. Kevin Zumberger's got his third 3-second time penalty of the evening. Coda wants a refund. I'll see what I can get you, but I don't actually have anything. I'll find a fact about Texas. There we go.
Yes. I'll let you do the fact for once, maybe.
Yeah, go on.
That
Then. You
may be
commentate for a minute.
Yes,
then
I'll
fine.
commentate for a minute since there's not a great deal happening. I mean, the top three are still as they were. Oscar from Quantum and Justin. Quantum's doing a good job, though, to stick with Oscar on his 2-lap older tyres. But look at that gap now, 12.5 seconds. Justin down to Seed in P4. This top three have been at, well, I'm just talking about Seed. And Seed now picks up his second time penalty just to add insult to misery or injury there. Finn's got a different penalty altogether. That's a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that's no doubt going to be a retirement, or he's just going to try and steal the fastest lap point, which is a possibility. Surprised Crowding hasn't gone for that, but yeah, Seed with his second time penalty is going to really hint. Well, if he could have stayed ahead of his teammate and Kevin, that's now not going to happen. He will drop down to P7 now as it stands. Polymassi, ever since he got that move done on Digio, has pulled 2.5 seconds on the Williams, and Niall is also actually struggling and is out of the DRS of the Williams himself. So Polymassi's showing he's had the pace. He's just been very unlucky with being held up here, and could have been potentially in the fights for P4. But at least he's still here. We've got 2 laps to go now. The penultimate lap has now started. It's still about a 4/10 gap out in front. Quantum there trying to close in on the back of Oscar in front of him. Nothing doing there though. But it's a case of Justin hasn't really got anywhere near him though to attempt to make a move.
Yeah, not really. So he's been slow in this race. He just needs a bit of weather, because he absolutely shone yesterday. The skies have been very blue here in Texas. Let's get a couple of facts in before this race comes to an end. Why is Texas called Texas, you might ask? It is said that the Caddo tribe greeted Spanish settlers by saying Tejas, which means friends, and it sounds like Texas. We've got another request of fact. I haven't got anything on the Eagle at the minute, but did you know Texas is named unless it's got a penalty? Right, okay.
Well, there goes his chance of a... actually, to be fair, he will still be P4 at the moment, because both Steve and Kevin have 2 penalties. But he just wanted to join everybody else. He wanted to follow. He didn't want to. He wanted to be a sheep, follow the herd.
Only 5 drivers without a penalty. I don't think I've seen this
fair play to those 5 drivers. That if they don't get a penalty, then fair play to them for not getting one. But yeah, that's not great. But as we come through the penultimate corner for the penultimate time and about to start lap 28 of this Grand Prix, Oscar still leads the way. It is about an 8/10 gap he's got over Quantum. Justin is trying his absolute damnedest to close in on the back of that Kick Sauber, but I don't think he's going to really be interested. Thinking that Quantum's penalty cannot be removed, he might not take the chance here and just stay in behind and just hope that there isn't a warning that potentially could be removed for the FR team. Man, with his teammate down in P13, they are going to need all the points that they can get. Quantum doing his absolute best for them. But look at this, they're exiting the first sector as Sieb enters turn 1. That is the gap. That is the gap that they have. That is the pace that those 3 have had all race over everybody else. If you look at that as an average per lap, that's more than half a second a lap. That is different gravy. And yes, that's what we're going with, gravy.
Different gravy. Right, I didn't finish my fact. Texas is nicknamed the Lone Star Stakes in 1836 when the Republic Texas declared itself an independent nation, it flew a flag with a single star on it. There has been a single star in tonight's race. Oscar, who has once again proved why he is one of the very best on console at the moment, taking pole position. You'd suggest by a landslide, because he didn't even need to put in a third and final lap of the session. Just kind of went in there and got it done immediately into the 1:30.3s. We've got action on the final lap as Sieb and Kevin Zumberg go side by side. They're only at turn 12. Oscar is at the penultimate corner and is about to take his 9th consecutive podium as an SCI driver in team races, and it's a winter boot, his first in the Top Tier Championships Premier Division. What a performance from Oscar, and for the second time this season, the Shazoo Cedars Igniters have a 1-2 finish and now a huge championship lead with Ventari nowhere to be seen. Valiant effort from Quantum, who held on to P2, chanced the undercut, was unable to hold on to the lead and then lost second place due to a penalty. After all of that, a lesson and a first stint struggle, does finish in P4. IRT still finished exactly where they started, on the 3rd row. Polymassey does finish 7th, despite looking like he was going to get nowhere near that once again on track. Kevin Zumberg had a nightmare on penalties. Niall Gio finishes 9th, and Digio rounds out the top 10. Credit as well to Melwin, in only his second no assist race, comes home to score a point for AERT. They'll take that for sure after the incident involving crowding and Mateusz.
Indeed. Yes, well, that's I don't really need to to say anything really, because that's perfect result there for SCI. Their second 1-2, of the season, and well, now obviously after losing the championship lead to Ventari after the last race, they have just shown their hand here tonight with that 1-2. Ventari not getting the best of results, they retake the championship lead. And by quite some margin as well. Didn't get the full shebang. It wasn't everything. Didn't get fastest lap. Finn stole that in the end on the penultimate lap by pitting on for another set of mediums. But still, a great race nonetheless. And yeah, Oscar showing his dominance and his pace here at COTA once again. First it was in World, and today it's in TTC.
Norwegian flag flying high on the podium once again. Fuller Congan in P2 in round 1. It was Oscar in P3 on the podium in round 2. This time, they've gone better. It's on the top step of the podium. SCI Oscar, another fabulous performance. The best on console, I must say, at this point in time. I don't think he's finished really ever lower than like 4th or 5th any time he's watched it. Just a monumental consistency. The results aren't going to come up, which is annoying. So if
it has to me.
It has do to take me. Screenshots, because I'll be asked
I will
for them.
do.
I can't see them.
No, that's absolutely fine. It did take an H from me, to be fair, as well. But, yeah. I need to scroll out quickly to the bottom. I got it in the end. Although it did change to the penalties.
Oh, I've got them. No, it's gone.
It did change to the penalties though when I took that screenshot for the bottom part, but never mind. But nonetheless, that was a good race. Good race here for COTA, but just shows again the pace level, the pace difference that you can get on some of these tracks. And tonight we sure as hell saw that. I mean, well, let's see, where are we at next week? I mean, for round 5 of the season, we go from COTA to our second street race of the circuit of the season, to Singapore.
Lovely. I don't mind Singapore, to be honest. Again, I know no overtaking and all that, but certainly could see some of the heaviest rain we get on the F1 game. It usually tends to come there if we do get it. Right, SCI, huge championship lead then. That's your talking point this evening. Finally, a double good finish for IRT as well. Quantum rounding off the podium once again. As he basically carries this FRT one-man team at the minute. It's harsh. I think it's a fair little summary. Join us for the Artemis tier tomorrow, same time, same place. And then for PC's top tier at 8 PM BST on Friday. Until next week then, from us in the Premier tier, it's goodbye from Bobbert and goodbye from myself.
Goodbye.